Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is me, Megan, and I'm here to talk about my last 5 library books. These are them. Let's jump right into it. Alright, before I lose my voice. So, let's get started. The first book that I read was Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Khong. This is it. So when I was talking about it in my prediction video, I called this a work of nonfiction, and I have no idea why I said that, because it clearly states a novel. Right on the cover it says a novel. So this was fiction and not nonfiction. So and this was literary fiction. Usually I'm not a giant fan of literary fiction. Usually I find it really, I don't want to say boring, but I don't find it very engaging. I just find, because you get dropped in the middle of someone's life and then you're dropped out of it, and then you're like, well, what was the point? Sometimes I find it's just, there is no point, and that's, I guess, what bores me about it. But this one actually had, like, a point. So we're dropped in the middle of our main character's life, and her fiance just broke up with her. Her dad is suffering from Alzheimer's, and she's basically now back at home, and she spends a year at home trying to rebuild her life. And that was basically the premise of this book, and it did a really good job of just being very truthful and being very raw and very real to real life and the things that happen. And I mean, it wasn't sugar-coated, it wasn't, it felt very authentic in that sense. And I mean, it wasn't like anything super crazy happened, but it was just like what happens in real life. So I thought that was actually really, really well done and really well handled. So I rated this 4 stars. I don't know why it's called Goodbye Vitamin. She says it once in the book, and I'm like, oh, alright. I don't know why it's called that, but that's besides the point. The next book I read was From My Mother's Back by Njoki Wayne. So this was nominated for Canada Reads 2022 this year. This was nonfiction, but I got this wrong. So this, when I was predicting about it, it says a journey from Kenya to Canada, and I thought it was like someone's story, someone's mom's story about coming from Kenya to Canada, and it wasn't. So basically this is about the author and how she came from Canada. She came from Kenya to Canada, but this was more like a tribute to her mother, because her mother passed away. I mean, she had her mother, and her mother was always like this, like, constant in her life, and like always getting her to do the best that she could do, and that transpires throughout her life even after she's passed. And this is basically like I say, a tribute and like a love letter to her own mom, about how her mom was always there, even if she wasn't technically always like present or whatever. Her mom was always there and had her back. That's what this was about. It was so heartwarming, and it was very short. Obviously, it's a very short book, but it was like super heartwarming. It was super, just like really well told. Like, you can tell that like the author put a lot of thought and love and just so much into her words. I rated this 4 stars as well, just because it was so beautifully written and just so beautifully told. So that's this one. The next book I read was Flame in the Mist by Renee Adiha. I still don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm so bad. But this is it. And this was a really good first novel in this duology. So basically, it's about our main character. She, from the moment she was born, she has been sent to be married. Like, because she's a girl, she has to get married. That's the only thing girls are known for, is they grow up, they get married, that's it. And she's on her way to go meet her husband that she's never met before, and while she's en route, she gets taken by this group called the Black Clan, and they have been sent to kill her, and she ends up surviving. She pretends to be a boy. She dresses up as a peasant boy and joins them because she wants to take revenge. Because when she finds out that they were set to kill her, she then wants revenge on them. So then she becomes one of them. But obviously things ensue, and she finds that as she travels with them, she realizes that they actually because she's a really good fighter, so she's appreciated for her skills, and she's never been appreciated before because she's a woman, or she's a girl. So she's like, wow, this is a whole new experience for myself. So now she's kind of torn between, well, I want to murder these people, but I'm like, she's in awe of them as well. So this was a really good first novel. I really, really enjoyed this. This was a 4-star read for me, and the writing was just so gorgeous. There were a lot of really good quotable moments in this, and I was like, damn, this is really good. So I can't wait to read the duology, the sequel, to find out what happens next in her story, because yeah, I need to know. So that was this one. The next book I read was Given to the Earth by Mindy McMinnis. So this was book 2 in the 2-star rated book duology. I mean, okay, we're going to start off with, yes, I rated this 2 stars. 2.5 maybe, because this one was slightly better than the first book. It had less harsh plots, and I was like, okay, whatever, but there was still so much going on. The beginning was kind of repercussions for what happened in the first book, because the main character, what's her name? Kahosa. She wasn't supposed to be the queen. She was supposed to go be with the sea, and she was supposed to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for. It's not suffered, but she was supposed to be free them because she goes to sea. It's whatever. So, but now she's queen because Vincent, the king, decided to save her, and so now they have to produce a heir, but she doesn't really like him that way, and there's some love triangles happening here and there. It's there's a lot happening. But as we continue, I'm like, where is this going? What is the point? I still don't really know what the point was. In the end, there was this battle, and people died, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect these people to die. There were also 6 point of views in this book. The first book had 4, this one had 6, and 2 of them, I'm like, what is happening? Why are these points of view here? Also, the points of view jump so fast. Okay, hold on. I feel like there's a part that I can show you where it's every page was a freaking different point of view. It was so you're you don't even get to spend enough time in one of their points of view, because it goes by so fast, and you're like, what? I'm honestly very confused, and obviously right now I can't find it, because why wouldn't I be able to find what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it? Oh, here we go. So we have a short point of view. Oh, look, 2 different points of view. Then the next page, another point of view. It just jump. How am I supposed to remember who does what to who does where? As soon as I finally started to understand kind of what was going on in one point of view, we jump off to the next point of view, and I was like, oh my god, what is happening? So yeah, this was an interesting duology. I feel like there was a lot of potential in it, because there was a lot of different things happening, but she just didn't execute it properly, or she needed more books, and she needed to flesh out things a little bit better, because I don't know, there's just something going on here where I was like, it wasn't working for me. So this was a 2-star read. And then the last book I read was Sons and Soldiers by Bruce Henderson. This is also a nonfiction book. This I rated this 3 stars. Wasn't my cup of tea, but it was also still really interesting, because this is a part of World War II that I didn't even know existed. So this focuses on young men who, I mean, they were probably well, most of them were boys when Hitler became in power and Nazi Germany was on the rise, and they ended up fleeing Germany and were sent to the United States. And then as they got older, they joined the US Army, and then they ended up fighting against Germany, even though they were German. And they were called the Ritchie Boys. Is that how? Yeah, the Ritchie Boys. And so like there's a whole group of them, and basically this told their stories from like the moment that they realized that they had to escape, and all of the training that they had to go through, and becoming U.S. citizens, and joining the war, and the things they had to do in the war, and then after the war. So there's a lot that's covered in this, so it's very daunting, and there's a lot of stuff that's like thrown at you. I mean, it's written really well, and like it's easy to comprehend and read. It's just that there's a lot, and there's a lot of like war talk too, so you're kind of like, wait, what does that actually mean? But I mean, he does a really good job of like describing things so that you're not like totally lost. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of history and like World War II things, so this wasn't, like I say, my cup of tea. But like I say, it was also really like it's an important read because it's like part of our history that wasn't that long ago when you think about it, and it's also a different perspective from what I'm used to. I'm not used to like from soldiers' perspectives that were German, who ended up, most of them were Jewish Germans that were in this predicament. And I mean, it was a whole group of them, so it was really a fascinating read, but like I say, wasn't for me. But I'd recommend it to anyone who is very interested in anything World War II related. Might be your cup of tea. So, on that note, these were my last 5 library books. I'm gonna end up, we're gonna hug them. We're gonna hug my library books. I mean, we had a very good batch of books this week. We had 3 4-star books, 1 3-star, and 1 2-star, which is better than what's been happening. So, hey, all we can hope for is better books, good stories, and happy times. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, a like. I think a thumbs up is a like. I have no idea. A comment, a subscribe, do your thing, and I will see you all in my next video. So, thanks for watching, and bye guys!